This is your next best step. I'm Coach Janet J. Today, we're talking about that flat, slightly hollow feeling that shows up about 10 seconds after you scroll through everyone else's summer. The friend whose grown kids seem to adore her. The woman who somehow has energy for everything. The family photo where everyone is glowing and actually getting along. We are going to look at why your own good life seems to shrink the moment you set the phone down, and one change you can make to your phone tonight that puts the ache back into proportion. That effortless, candid photo you envied this morning, the one where everyone is laughing and no one is squinting and the light is just somehow perfect. It took 47 minutes, 3 outfit changes, and 1 low-grade argument about whose idea the whole thing was in the first place. There is a specific reason your own real summer feels smaller the second you close the app, and it traces back to a single idea from 1954. Let me set the scene, because I suspect you may have lived some version of it. It's a regular weekday in July. You've had a perfectly fine day. You fold a load of towels, you sit down for 2 minutes, and you pick up your phone. Then there it is. A woman from church whose grown kids apparently call her every single day. Someone you barely remember from high school whose marriage looks like a 30-year anniversary commercial. A friend who seems to have boundless energy while you are rationing yours by the hour. You set the phone down, and somehow your own towels look grayer than they did 4 minutes ago. Your perfectly fine Thursday now feels like the saddest Thursday in North America. That sinking feeling makes complete sense. It is a predictable response, and it happens to almost everyone with a thumb and a phone. Something measurable happened in your brain during those 4 minutes, and the science behind it is weirdly comforting once you know how it works. The interesting thing is that this is one of the oldest problems we have on record. Listen to how it shows up, of all places, in the 10 Commandments. Exodus 20:17 in the New International Version states, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor." Now, you may be wondering what oxen and donkeys have to do with a beach photo. So follow me with this idea for a moment. Of all the 10 Commandments, this is the only one aimed entirely at the inside of you. The others govern what you do. This one governs what you want when you look at what someone else has. God drew a line around the human heart in the exact spot where comparison lives, and he called it coveting. We have a newer word for that same ache. We call it the news feed. And look closely at what the verse actually itemizes: the house, the animals, the whole catalog of a neighbor's life, one possession at a time. That is the ancient version of scrolling through someone else's blessings and tallying your own against them. The commandment is a guardrail set there for your protection, because God understood that this kind of wanting can hollow out a woman who already has more than enough. So what is your brain actually doing in those 4 minutes? A social psychologist named Leon Fessinger gave us the answer back in 1954. He proposed what he called social comparison theory. And the central idea is simple. Human beings have a built-in drive to figure out how we are doing. And when there's no objective measuring stick within reach, no scoreboard, no clear number, no test result, we grab the nearest available yardstick, which is other people. In Fessinger's day, the nearest yardstick was your actual neighbor over the actual fence. Today, the nearest yardstick is 300 curated lives in your pocket, refreshed every time you scroll up with your thumb. Fessinger describes 2 directions we can look. We can compare downward towards someone who appears to have less, which lifts us up for a moment, or we can compare upward towards someone who appears to have more. And summer is one long upward scroll. The reunion where everyone looks happy, the family that seems to do it all without breaking a sweat, the friend who is somehow thriving when you are just getting through the week. Researchers have a term for what upward comparison tends to do to us. They call it the contrast effect. The gap between your ordinary real life and someone's polished, posted version registers in the brain as falling behind, even when nothing about your life has actually changed. And what makes it almost unfair is the kind of footage you are scrolling past. It is the highlight reel. People post the good news, the proud milestone, the perfect laughing photo. Almost no one posts the argument in the car on the way there, the unanswered text, or the teenager who refused to smile. So you end up holding the full, unedited footage of your own life, the towels, the tired afternoon, the dishes in the sink, up against the two best seconds of everyone else's life. Your brain treats that lopsided sample as if it were the true average, when it is nothing of the kind. More recent research lines up with all of this. Studies that follow people over time keep finding the same pattern. The more a person engages in upward comparison on social media, the lower the mood and the self-evaluation that tend to follow. And I do want to be careful and accurate with you about the science because integrity matters to me on this show. Most of this research shows a correlation, which means we cannot say that the scrolling itself causes the low mood. A hard day can also be what sends you scrolling in the first place. The link is real and well documented, and it is moderate in size. Put plainly, a very normal feature of your brain combined with a feed built to show you everyone else's best moment can make a perfectly good afternoon feel far flatter than the facts justify. Your brain is doing exactly what brains have always done. It simply has 300 lives to measure against now instead of one or two over the back fence. So think about your own ordinary week for a moment. For most women, this plays out several times a day. A perfectly good morning, dimmed by 90 seconds of scrolling before the coffee is even gone. And this is what makes it expensive. While you are busy grading your real life against a screen, the real life is the one happening in the room around you. The walk you could have taken, the person sitting in the next room, the afternoon that was perfectly fine until you measured it against someone else's. This is one that touches all four of the pillars that we talk about on this show. Mentally, comparison is a thinking error. Your mind is treating a tiny edited sample as though it were the full and final picture, and your thoughts slide downhill from there. Emotionally, the ache underneath the scroll is often a real longing for rest, for connection, for a season that felt simpler. And that longing deserves to be heard rather than scolded. Physically, that jolt of falling behind is a genuine stress response. Your shoulders climb, your jaw sets, and your body keeps carrying the comparison long after the phone is face down on the counter. And spiritually, this is the ground Exodus 2017 was guarding all along. Contentment is the steady knowing that your life, exactly as it is today, is seen and provided for by God. What He has placed in your hands keeps its full value no matter whose life looks shinier on the screen this week. So your next best step this week is a change to your environment rather than a test of your willpower. Because willpower loses this particular fight almost every time. Tonight, open the app that gets you the most. You already know which one it is. Find that one single account that reliably leaves you measuring your life against theirs, and the one specific feed that drops your mood nearly every time it shows up. Then mute it for 30 days. You don't have to unfollow anyone or make an announcement or hurt one single feeling. Most apps let you mute an account without notifying anyone, and the person on the other end never knows. You are simply moving one repeated trigger out of your daily path, the same way you would slide over a chair that you keep stubbing your toe on in the dark. Adjust the room, and you stop bracing for the bruise. So the short version, your brain has an ancient built-in habit of measuring you against the people nearest to you. And a summer feed hands it 300 highlight reels to do the measuring with. Exodus 2017 drew a protective line around that pole thousands of years ago because God knew comparison could hollow out a heart that already holds plenty. And your move this week is one change to your environment. Mute the single account that reliably leaves you feeling behind. Give it 30 days and notice how much lighter the same scroll begins to feel. On Wednesday, we're looking at something just as sneaky. How a summer that was supposed to feel slower somehow filled itself right back up, and how to reclaim your rhythm before August shows up at the door. Follow or subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so that one lands right in front of you the moment it drops. I will see you on Wednesday. Take your next best step.